Hello and welcome back to my channel, your sanctuary for all things home, health, and style. Come hang out with me as we explore everyday life, low-tox living, my best organizing tips, and my tried and true recipes. My goal is to help us create a wholesome life that's meaningful, beautiful, and attainable. I'm Timber and I'm a professional home organizer and content creator. Thank you so much for being here. Today we're going to be talking about 10 things I've simplified in order to make my life easier. The first thing that we've simplified in order to make life easier is our home in general. We typically try to reduce clutter, try to keep our collections down to a minimum, and try to do regular purging and decluttering of our entire home so that way we stay on top of it and we don't really get into the situation that I see a lot of my clients get into, where life gets busy and they don't make organizing a priority, and then before they know it, their whole house is a disaster and everything's out of place. They can't find the thing that they own and they need me. It's also just so much easier to clean the house when there's less stuff on surfaces and less belongings being packed into closets and things like that. I also really try to implement a cleaning routine. So once a week, I clean our whole house, usually on a Saturday or Sunday. And then like Wednesday, I wash our bed linens and towels. And then over the weekend, usually I'll wash our clothes. Once a quarter, I like to do a deep clean. So focusing one room at a time, usually I'll do a very thorough deep clean, like get the baseboards, get on top of the crown molding on the doors, and vacuum under the bed, and just do all of that deep cleaning stuff so that way our home stays simple, stays clean, and never really gets too far away from us to the point that it's out of control and really hard to bring it back to the way that it was. And as a professional home organizer, of course, everything in our home is organized. Pretty much everything has a label on it, and that is a really fantastic tip to keep your home simple and streamlined. That way, no matter who's putting what away, they'll know where it goes. The next thing that I've simplified in order to make my life easier are my cleaning supplies. I just talked about my cleaning routine and how I use that kind of routine and schedule in order to take all of the guesswork out from when things are going to be done. But I also have greatly reduced the number of cleaning products that I have. So many times I go into clients' homes and they just have their entire underneath the sink in this whole array of all these colorful bottles, and each spray has its own different purpose and all of that. Personally, I use white vinegar, baking soda, just good old-fashioned dish soap, and water for pretty much everything in my home. Baby wipes are great for wiping off fingerprints from your cabinets and doors or getting dust from baseboards, so I highly recommend that as well. By swapping out my cleaning supplies, not only did I simplify my space and my routine and my brain from not having to know which cleaners go to what and all of that, but that also helps create a healthier home because you're not using all these chemicals and all these cleaning products, and instead you're opting for healthier edible options. You're also saving money in the long run because vinegar is like $5 for 2 gallons and baking soda is also very inexpensive, so they go a long way. The next thing that I simplified to make my life easier is my kitchen. So often I go into people's homes and I see a super cluttered kitchen, stuff all over the counters, all in the drawers. You can't even open or close them. And to me, that's just very overwhelming. So we try to keep all of our appliances and everything stowed away in the cabinets to have a nice big clean surface area to cook on. We limited a lot of our specialty gadgets. I actually talked a lot about this and shared the same tip in another video that I did, which was things to throw away right now or whatever in your house. So I'll put that one wherever it's gonna show up on my video, right here or right here. I don't know. And again, everything is labeled, everything's organized, and we know pretty much, well, I know where everything is. Jean-Luc knows where almost everything is, but to his credit, I do kind of move things around sometimes and don't tell him, but we also just don't have a lot of overflow of kitchen items. We only have a few large mixing bowls. We only have as many mugs as we need, things like that. So it definitely helps make life easier when you have just the right amount of items that will fit in your space that you're storing them, so that way you're not fighting with your cabinet every time you're trying to put the dishwasher dishes away. Now that we've talked about how I've simplified my kitchen, I also want to tell you about how I've simplified our meals, specifically dinners. In the past, it has always been the bane of my existence figuring out, what are we gonna have for dinner tonight? And Jean-Luc, he has a lot of food allergies, so ever since being with him, we pretty much only have a few meals that we can rotate through, and to be honest with you, it does get a little bit boring sometimes, but I would trade that 100 times for not having to guess what is for dinner. We have like probably 6 things that we cycle through, and it just takes all the guesswork out of it. We always have the ingredients that we need for those meals, and it just makes life so much simpler, honestly. I've always been a really big snacker and would just snack throughout the day instead of sitting down and eating full meals. And probably a year ago, I would say I stopped snacking as much, and now I'm eating meals. And I was so shocked by how much more energy I have during the day, how much better I feel. And like, I always used to be cold all the time. Ever since I stopped snacking throughout the day and started eating more meals, I don't usually get cold anymore, like my fingers and toes. And if my fingers and toes do start getting cold, then that now signals to me that I need to eat something, because my body is not getting what it needs. So yeah, if you have trouble deciding what you're gonna feed your family for dinner, then I would highly recommend just having a few go-to recipes that you can use over and over again. So this next one is kind of personal, but I think it could be really helpful if maybe you're in the same boat as me. But my dad passed away a few years ago, and I feel like I'm now finally at a point where I can be the kind of friend that I was before that. Like, when I was in my grieving period for a few years, I really just wasn't up to my standard of the friend that I wanted to be to people. You know, I used to be the type of person that would always wish everybody a happy birthday every single year. Like, I had them all memorized and would make a point of it to make a friend feel special that day, even if I hadn't talked to them in years. But unfortunately, I went a few years without doing that, and I'm really trying to get back in the habit now, especially since I live in a different state. So what I did was I copied all my birthdays of all of my loved ones to a calendar on my refrigerator. And in my daily planner, on the first of each month, I wrote birthday cards. And now on the first of each month, what I'll do is I'll take these little postcards that I bought off of Amazon, and I'll just go throughout that whole month, and all in one sitting, I'll write out a nice little card to each person. And on the back, on the envelope, when I close it in, I put one of those like little round stickers, like a fake wax seal, and I'll say open on, and then I'll say their birthday going around the other way. And then I just drop them all in the mail on the same day. And it's such an easy way for me to be a good friend. So I highly recommend. That took a lot of stress out of my life and just made that so much easier. And now I feel a little bit better about myself. There's definitely still stuff that I need to work on, but that's one thing I can be proud of. By the way, I really hope that you guys can't hear it, but if you can hear the mariachi music that my neighbor's playing, I'm truly sorry. I can only kind of hear it, but it's very like bass heavy. So I'm honestly having a little bit of a hard time filming this because it's very distracting, but I'm glad they're having a good time over there. Okay, the next thing that I simplified in order to make my life easier is all of the linens that we have in our house. So many people's houses that I've been to organize, they just have so many mismatched linens. They have pillowcases to a comforter that they used to have 25 years ago, but now they don't have it anymore. 100 million old beach towels with holes in them and all of that. A lot of these things that I have learned to simplify to make life easier is just by, anecdotal experience and trying to see, sorry, I have something in my eye, and just trying to see patterns that are in other people's homes and try to get ahead of them. So what we do in our household is we have literally one fitted sheet for our king bed. And we don't have a flat sheet because Sean-Luc and I don't like flat sheets. So we have one comforter and one big blanket on top of our bed. We have just enough pillowcases for what are on our pillows right now. And whenever I do laundry, I just make sure that the day that I wash everything, I'll have enough time to dry it and put it on the bed. Now, I will say, of course, this definitely depends on the season of life you're in. If you're potty training your kid right now, then by no means am I telling you that you need to only have one sheet, because that's just completely unrealistic. So definitely have more if you need it. Right now we don't need it, so we don't have it. But even if you were in that situation, just think realistically, how many do you really need, and try to pare down on that. We only have 2 towels each in each size. We have 1 beach towel each, and then really I probably would only have 1 towel each for us for the bath towels, but in case we ever have guests, it's always nice to have extra bath towels. The less linens that you have and the less clothes that you have, really, if you think about it, the less laundry that you'll have to do. Of course, you'll probably have to do laundry a little bit more often, but like I said before, we have Wednesday wash day, and that's when I wash the linens. And then Saturdays or Sundays, I'll do our clothes, and it just makes life really easy to have it that way, for me at least. And speaking of laundry, we really don't have a lot of clothes. For the last 6 months or so, I've been really working on revamping my entire wardrobe. This actually is one of my thrifted finds because I'm trying to get as much as I can secondhand, because I don't just have $1 million extra to buy a whole new wardrobe, unfortunately. But I learned about how bad synthetic fabrics are for our skin. When you're wearing something like polyester or rayon or even viscose, in order for them to make that material or that chemical into a fabric, it has to go through such an extreme chemical process that by the time you're actually wearing the clothing, it's just terrible for you. And they're even finding now that if you're wearing athletic clothing or something, really tight polyester, usually clothing, you're working out and you're sweating in it, your pores are opening from you being hot, and then you being hot is heating up the plastic petroleum clothing, because polyester and all synthetic fibers are petroleum derived. But you're heating up those chemicals and they're actually seeping into your skin. And a lot of those clothings have formaldehyde and flame retardants, and just again the chemical process that it needs to go through to take petroleum and somehow change that into something that we can wear. Crazy. I don't know. But anyways, I've been trying to simplify my wardrobe and have just what I need and switch everything out to fabrics like cotton, linen, silk, wool, cashmere, just anything natural. This has also made my life a lot easier because I'm no longer impulse shopping. Whenever I see something at any store, I always look at the tag and make sure that it's made with 100% natural fabrics, and if it doesn't, then I don't purchase it. It's made my life easier, I guess, because I'm not spending as much money, so I don't have to work as much maybe. And I stay way cooler because I'm not wearing essentially a plastic bag in this Texas heat and humidity. Jumping from wardrobe straight into my makeup routine and my beauty routine in general, I actually either just had a video come out that goes over my whole beauty routine, or it will be the next video that I post next weekend. But when I switched from all of the regular beauty products that I had been using for years to more non-toxic products, that actually decreased my makeup collection by like 90%. And now I really only have a few things in my makeup bag that used to be really hard to zip close. Now there's like so much extra space in it. But my beauty routine is so much faster, so much easier. A lot of the products that I use are multi-use. Like I have just a highlighter like in a little palette thing. It's just one color, and I use that to highlight here, and then I'll also put it like sometimes I'll use it as eyeshadow or whatever. My blush is my lip gloss and just things like that. Another thing that I've simplified in order to make my life easier is my phone. So I still definitely struggle with this. I honestly hate having an iPhone. I'm like this close to getting a flip phone, but one thing that I've done to simplify my phone and to make my life easier is to take all of my non-essential apps and move them like within folders to my back pages. So I don't just immediately go to Instagram or Facebook or whatever when I open my phone. Same with my email. I have those on my second page because I just hate seeing all the unread emails. Speaking of that, what I highly recommend doing is every holiday season, when you're just getting bombarded with all the Memorial Day sale, Christmas sale, blah, blah, blah sale emails, unsubscribe from the mailing list, because you'll have such a clear inbox if you do that. I've also limited my screen time on certain apps, Instagram, to 15 minutes per day, and you can do that through the Instagram app, I believe, but you can also do it through your screen time settings on your iPhone. I also set my phone on do not disturb mode from I think 9 p.m. to 8 a.m. or something like that. So that way I'm just not using my phone during those times like at all. I heard somebody say somewhere that our generation, millennials, we're the first generation that has ever in the history of the entire world been expected to be available 24/7. And I don't know about you guys, but I currently have like 30 unread text messages, and I just cannot stay on top of it. Like, I don't want to be on my phone all the time. I don't want to have to talk to people all the time. Like, I'm an introvert, and I'm doing stuff around the house. Like, I can't be on all the time. And I don't think that anybody should be expected to be on all the time. So to have those set limits where your phone is off and people can only contact you in case of an emergency or whatever, it just makes life so much easier. Just living a slow, peaceful, disconnected life. Not disconnected from life, but disconnected from all of the madness. You know what I mean. Another thing that we've really been trying to simplify to make life easier is our streaming services. We used to have quite a few of them, and we would spend the longest time trying to decide what to watch every night. And it got to the point where we were talking one evening and we were thinking about how, remember when we were little and we just had a few DVDs to choose from, how easy it was to watch a movie and you never got tired of watching the same movie over and over and over again. And now we just have all these options just available to us at the touch of a button. Did you guys know that most libraries have DVDs that you can check out just like you would a book? So we're actually thinking maybe to just get rid of all of our streaming services in general, although we are currently watching How I Met Your Mother and Vampire Diaries, so we would have to wait until we finish with those. But then I think we might, at least for a little while, try to just do movies. And I'm sure they have shows on DVD as well, but that's another great option. And yeah, it's just, I'm really getting into a phase where I just hate technology. And honestly, that's why I switched to YouTube also. Hey, I should add this as a bonus. Okay, bonus. If you want to make your life simpler and easier, if you are on Instagram, just leave Instagram and start a YouTube channel because it's way more fun. It's way less work as far as daily work goes. Like Instagram, you have to be on 24/7. With YouTube, you can just take an afternoon or a day and film something, and then just a couple of hours editing your video and posting it up, and then you're done, really. It's, instead of creating a new piece of content every day or every couple of times per day, you just really have to produce something once or twice a week or whatever your posting schedule is. I do once a week because I enjoy my free time and this is kind of just a hobby at the moment. But yeah, that's my bonus one. Basically, let's just all get rid of our phones. Let's just all get rid of our Wi-Fi and let's just live like they did 150 years ago. And I think we'll be much happier. But let's keep our human rights that we have today, please. Speaking of the library, another thing that we've simplified to make life easier is our book collection. Jean-Luc loves to read, and I love the idea of reading, but I don't do it as much. But does that stop me from buying books to add to our bookshelf? No, it does not. So one way that we've simplified our books is we got a library card. So now we're not wasting money. I'm not wasting money on books that I have the best of intentions of reading, but don't have that fire under my butt to get me to actually read them. But we're also saving space in our house because we're just borrowing books and giving them back instead of collecting them. It's also such a fun and easy date idea to go to the library and maybe check out a new section that you guys haven't looked at yet, or go look for a DVD, pretend it's Blockbuster back in the day or something. And it's also made it a lot easier for me to actually finish a book because the longest time that you can check out a book at the library for is 6 weeks. So I've actually finished a couple of books because I'm like, okay, I only have 6 weeks to do this, you know? Well, those are the 10 things that I've simplified in order to make my life easier. I hope that you can take a couple of these and maybe apply them to your life to make your life easier as well. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate it if you would like it or even subscribe. I am just a few subscribers away from reaching 500 subscribers, which is really exciting. Once again, my name is Timber, and together, let's make every moment at home extraordinary. Some love.